Hi, welcome to Excel Essentials. I'm Wendy Gray and I'll be your instructor for this session. Let's get started. To find Excel on your desktop, you can look several places. It may be in the tray, the system tray at the bottom of your screen. It's a green icon with an X and it shows the word Excel. It may also be on your desktop itself. If you can't find it in either of those places, the easiest thing for you to do is to click the Windows Application Start menu. You may see it up here. If not, you can simply type in the search bar Excel and it will open Excel for you. We're going to create a new blank workbook. And now we're going to talk about the tabs and the ribbon as we continue. You're going to do all of your formatting, all of your changing your text, boxes around your cells that you have. You can bold, you can italicize. You'll see you can even position the text inside of each cell. You can even have the cell go in different directions. You can angle it, whatever you want to do. There's so much to offer on this toolbar. You have your number or your outline here. You have your number format right here where you can choose perhaps one of your columns is you're entering dollar amounts or percentages. You can add decimal points or remove decimal points if you would like and just round or average. We're going to talk about conditional formatting a little bit later on, but you can do formatting, insert, delete cells, all kinds of things on the Home tab. The ribbon is what shows up under the Home tab, and that has all of your tools on it. What you're going to notice, if I click on different tabs, the ribbon changes. So the ribbon changes to match what you can do on that particular tab. So you'll see on the Insert, I'm going to just comment on a couple of things. If I wanted to insert some pictures or shapes, I can do that. If I wanted to insert some charts, it will walk me through that. If I want to insert some word art, you see I have lots of options here as well. Let's take a look at the Draw tab. I can automatically convert handwriting to text here. So if I have a pad that I can write on that will transfer information to my computer, which I actually do have, I can write on it and it will write in the text boxes and then convert it to text itself. You can see I can change my pen colors if I want to. I can draw with touch. This is not a tool I use a lot. I just type faster than I write, so I really don't use the draw tool here. Page layout. This is going to help me with any themes that I want to use on it. I can pick out different themes that kind of preset the color and the look of my Excel spreadsheet. I normally don't do any of this kind of stuff, the themes or colors, until the end. I can set margins, the orientation, how I want it to print out, whether I want it landscape or portrait. I can choose the size, the print area, all kinds of fun things here. The Data tab we're going to cover in detail today because it's a very helpful tab and I love all that you can do, the power of Excel. If you're not a regular Excel user, I hope you come to love it as much as I do. There's a Review tab where you can check for accessibility, you can do some translating, fun things like that. The View tab just tells the different types of view that you can have, and again, you see all of these ribbons change. There's even a Help tab. And under the Help tab, you can click on the Help icon. You can give feedback. There's all kinds of information here. But I'm going to show you somewhere else you can get help. When I'm on any tab, you'll see Copilot at the end of it. And we're going to talk about this in more detail as we go. This is actually the help tool that is now available inside of Excel. Back in the day, some of you may remember Clippy, the little paperclip guy that was your help icon. Clippy sadly has passed on, and now we have Copilot, which is still very, very powerful. All right, let's get started. I have a blank spreadsheet here, and I want to talk about some of the things that we can do with a blank spreadsheet. So when I open it, I can start typing in information. One of the things I like to use it for just personally is my Christmas list. So I'm going to put name, gift item, cost, and then I'm going to put purchased. Whoops. So this is a fun way to use it and keep track of things. Now, I can drag the line at the top between the two cells. Notice I just hovered over between A and B and widened that column. I can do the same thing for each column, or, so let's just put in some made up data in here. I'm just going to put a little bit, Jennifer, she's actually my daughter. Let's give her a facial massager. It is $50. I'm just going to put 50.00. And I would usually just put a check or an X or something here if I've already purchased it. All right, I've got my data here. So now what I want to do, and this is just a really, really small spreadsheet. I could put hundreds of items. You see, it keeps going, not infinitely. There is an end, but I can't remember what it is. I think it used to be 13,000, something like that. But I want to format this a little bit because I told you that you could make it prettier. Right now it's kind of ugly. So I think what I want to do is I want to highlight, and to highlight, you just put your mouse in the first box, right click on the button and hold it down and drag across. And when you let go, you'll notice that they're gray. The first column is still white. That's to let you know. But you see this green box around it? This lets me know exactly what area of my spreadsheet is highlighted. So now I'm going to go up. I think I'm going to make it bold. And I think I'm going to change the font color. To change the font color, I just go over here, see the letter, that's font color. And if you hover over each of these little icons, it'll tell you what it is. So I'm going to use the drop down to pick a different color. I want my color, I think, to be a dark red, not a bright red that's going to hurt my eyes. I'm going to use a dark red because it's Christmas. And there I have my top row. I can do that and change the colors of any of these. I can color just one color. And I think I'm going to make Jennifer purple. It's not very dark, but it's okay. I'm going to make John Jr. orange because that's his favorite color. And I'm going to make Mom brown. Now I've got that formatted. And if I were to print it out, if you want to go to File, Print, I want to show you something. It's File, go down to Print. File is where you do your saving, your printing, exporting, all kinds of actions with your worksheet. It has nothing to do with formatting or input. So I'm going home and I am going to hit Print just to get a print preview. So you'll notice I can choose where I'm printing, how many copies I want to print, all that stuff. This works the same way. These tabs show up. It's not really a ribbon, but it's a menu over here to the side. And if I changed it, you'll notice that every tab or every link that I click on goes to a new place. So I'm going to go back to print. Now, it shows me a preview of what it's going to look like. Right now, there are no grid lines. By default, there are no grid lines. But if you want grid lines, you can put them in. So I'm going to use my back button and go back. And I'm going to highlight the top line. Notice that I clicked in the first cell, dragged my mouse over. And now to add a border on it, see this little box? Bottom border. I can change the kind of borders I want. I want my title to have a bottom border, which is already checked. And for my borders, I can also add some more information here. I can update the line color. So if I want the line color, I think I'm going to make it a pretty dark green. And then I can change, whoops. I get a pencil and I can draw across this way and let go. And then hit enter. And you'll notice I have a lovely green border here. Now I want to get off of a drawn kind of border. So I'm going to go back to the borders item. And I think, remember, it's got to be highlighted to do anything to it. I think I'm going to go back to borders, and I want just a regular bottom border. I'm going to go back in and make sure that the color is just automatic, because if it's automatic, you don't have to draw it in most cases. I'm going to use the Control Z a few times to go back to where I had no border. If you didn't know that little keystroke Control Z together, meaning you hold down Control then hit Z, it undoes whatever you just did. That's a nice one to know. So I'm going to go back to my borders. I'm going to pick my bottom border and enter. And there's just a plain black border you'll see there that I can add. Now let's go back to our print preview and take a look at it. So I'm going to go to Home, Print. There's my preview. So now I have just a top line border. And that's fine. But if it bothers you not having the people on your list or items on your list separated, you can also go back and you can just highlight everything that you've typed in, go back to borders, and now I'm going to choose all borders. But I think I'm going to make my header up here, I'm going to make it a different color so it kind of separates it out. The little paint can, just like in Word and PowerPoint, lets you change color. So I'm going to add just a faint light green back there. Okay? So that's highlighting. Super easy to do. To add a new sheet to an existing spreadsheet is super easy. I can even rename my sheets. So if I go down here, I'm going to change it. I don't want it to say Sheet 1. I want it to say 2026. Now, if I have a previous list, I could have named it 2025, etc. But if I add another one for next year, I'm going to click. I'm just going to click a plus. Click plus, it adds a new sheet. Double click on the name, and I'm going to change it to 2027. Now I can keep a running list of who all I have in my Christmas list and what I bought them. The easiest way to do this one and start information on it with the previous information, I can just go back to 2026, start at the top, highlight everything that's there. I'm going to do either a right click copy. Yeah, here we've got a copy. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to highlight about the same area so that it fits nicely. I'm going to paste. Now, notice how all of these are bunched up again. I can go back up here. If you double click on the line, that's what it was. If you double click on the line, it will fit the content. The only thing is, if you add more content, you may have to make it wider to fit. So I'll usually fit content at the very end. So if I put something here and see purchased is hanging out, I can do this, and now it's the right size. So if I'm adding somebody with a longer name, what I could do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert. I just inserted another line that I will have to format. But let's say I put in here Amelia this year. Let's give somebody with a longer name. Let's do Cassandra. Notice how Cassandra's hanging out here now. All I have to do is go to the top line where I see the two arrows on the cursor. Click, click, and there she is. She fits. So I can go back and do that. As I add people, I can also copy the formatting of every other cell. I'm just going to go over to the side. See how if I hover my mouse, it turns, I get a little yellow, a little green highlighting on row 5. I'm going to click it. I'm going to go to my Format Painter, and I'm going to paste. And now it's got the same borders and everything around it. And that's all you do. Hopefully navigating around, it looks pretty easy to you. The next thing I want to show you, data organization. So for this activity, I am going to bring in another spreadsheet that I have. So for this one, I have some data that I had Copilot generate for me. These are not real students. These are not real courses. You can bring in, for example, your grade sheet out of Blackboard and do some data analysis with it. You do not want to put student names. I have already taken out student names. I had last name, first name here, and student ID. I'm leaving the student ID because it's not easy to tie that to someone, and it may be helpful for me to go back and look at my data. But if you're uncomfortable with that and you're just interested in numbers, to delete a column, you just go up to the top of it, click on it to highlight, and then you can right click and you can delete that particular column. We'll go ahead and do it to show you how. Just click delete. I can also insert a column anywhere I want to. Let's say I want to insert something between percentage and letter. I'm going to right click again and highlight that entire area. Right click. I'm going to insert a new tab right there. I've got a new column coming down right here. I really don't want that, so I'm going to, again, highlight, right click, delete. I'm just going to take that one column out. See how easy that is to navigate? So now what we're going to do is we're going to analyze this data. And I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see it. I just hit the plus button on my computer and did some left clicking and got it to zoom. That's how you can zoom. Plus button zooms out or in, so you see it up close. Minus button zooms back out, so it gets smaller and you can see more of the real estate there. So what I'm going to do is go to the Data tab. There's a lot of fun things you can do on the Data tab. On the Data tab, I can do things like sort. If I want to put them in some sort of order, I can pick a column and then I can sort it, A to Z, Z to A, however I want to do. The thing you need to remember when you're sorting data is, and I will tell you, I never use these two because I have multiple columns. I always use this sort button. I have to select my range first. So what I do is I click this little triangle up here in the corner. You'll see I move my cursor and it's going to turn into a plus. Click, and it highlights the entire worksheet. Then I'm going to sort. The reason you want to do this is if you don't have everything highlighted together, when it sorts it a specific way, the items across become orphaned from the column that you sorted. And what that means is, for example, it may sort my first column correctly, but all of the things that match up with that column get lost because they don't get sorted. So I'm going to highlight my entire spreadsheet. I'm going to click sort. And now I have a dialog box that shows up. How do I want to sort it? I'm going to sort mine by column A. Notice I don't have headers. If I were to change it to headers and put headers in there and name those columns, I could sort it by the names. But I tend to sort it just by the column. I put headers in last. My reasoning is because if I sort it with the headers in there, it sorts the name of the headers too. So I save my headers to last. So I'm going to sort it by column A. And then I'm just going to say I want my order to be A to Z. You can also tell it if your data has headers so that it doesn't include it. I never remember to click that button, which is why I always go by columns first, unless I have a ton of columns. And then I'm just going to say, okay. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to say sort column A. And my data does have headers. Click that. That means it's going to leave the headers at the top and sort everything below. So now I'm going to click OK. And when I do that, since I sorted by course, the course number, notice it's going to sort first alphabetically if there are alphabetic letters, which we do have here. We see they're in alphabetical order: biology, English, math, psychology, in alphabetical order that way. I could also sort them alphabetically. I'm going to click everything again. This time, I think I want to sort. I'm going to keep my course, but I'm going to add a level. I want to sort by course and by grade, percentage grade at the end. So that is column I. So I'm going to sort by grade or column I. Let's see where we are. By percentage, yes. And I'm going to say okay. Oh, let's do largest to smallest to see who does best in each course. Okay, so now you can see I've got my courses. Biology is first, my highest grades down to my lowest grades. Then I go down to English, and I've got highest grades to lowest grades. So there's lots of fun things you can do here. I can also filter. Filter is something that I wanted to show you as well. So again, I'm going to highlight my entire spreadsheet, and I'm going to click on filter. Watch the top row, row 1, very, very carefully, okay? Filter. Do you see what happened? We just added little drop-down marks to every one of our boxes. So when we're in filter form, we can easily, let's say with courses, I've already analyzed my English course. So I want to look, this has, if I click on courses, you'll see all of them are selected here. I can deselect all by just clicking on it to remove that check mark. But I want to check out my psychology course and look at my grades in there. So I'm going to click just psychology, and I'm going to say okay. And now I have just my psychology grades, the assignment averages or the assignments, the overall percentage. And since I had already sorted it by highest to lowest, you'll see that has stuck. It keeps that as well. All right, let's undo that. So I'm going to Control Z. Next, I'm going to talk about analyzing this data. There are 2 ways I'm going to teach you to analyze this data today. One of them, I'm just going to highlight this sheet so that all of this data is included. And Microsoft Excel actually has its own Analyze Data tool built in that runs on Copilot. So if I want to analyze this data, I'm just going to click on Analyze Data. And it's going to look for patterns and things that it sees in it. Right now, it gives me some suggestions. I can add in information if I want to, or I can just look what it already produced. These are some of the insights that it's already given me. I can look and see the overall average for my biology class is 80.52 across all of my students. English, 78.35. Math, 115. I can see it. I've also got a graph here, a chart of the ups and downs of all the different students and what their grades look like. I can look at their percentages. These are all what we call pivot charts. And what I can do with these pivot charts is I can insert them into my document if I want. When I insert a pivot chart, notice it's going to insert a new sheet down here with my pivot chart on it. So I'm just going to click Insert Pivot Chart. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to make your own pivot charts anymore. You can if you want to, but that's a little more advanced. So it's going to show you each course, how Section A did, Section B did, the overall total average of the 2 sections. And then I've got a lovely graph here, a chart that I can use to easily compare it. And I can actually, if I wanted to edit this, I can click on it, and then I can go into right-click it, and I can change the chart type if I want. I want to chart this differently. I can look at different charts. I'm going to do columns instead of bars. So now I've got columns, and I say OK, and notice how quickly it changes it for me. And there are some formatting changes that you can make. Like I can click on a bar. Notice it's highlighted. All the orange bars are highlighted because they have these little dots in the corners. When I click on it, then right-click on it, I can change the color and outline of the orange bar. So now if I want, let's say I want to use a gold and black for West Georgia Tech. So I'm going to, on that one, go gold. I'm going to scroll down to gold. You'll want your outline to match because otherwise it's still going to stay blue. So I'm going to match my outline. I'm going to click off somewhere. I'm going to go back and highlight all the blues, right click, go to change it. I want this one to be black. So I'm going to go to black, and I'm going to change this one to black. And now I've got my school colors in my chart, so I can easily change that. I hope you love the options under data. There's also information on conditional formatting. That's a little more advanced. So even though I talked about it in the actual class, I'm going to save that for advanced. And then I can rename these sheets. So I'm going to put student data here, and I'm going to put data summary. So now I still have all of my student data, but I've also got my data summary here, and I can share that out with someone. If I want to see what it's going to look like when it's printed, I will tell you this will print out beside this. So I am going to put it underneath so that it looks a little prettier. So I'll go here, and you notice I don't have my formatting painting tools. I have to go back over to the Home tab because that's where I can change the color. So let's say I just want to change it to kind of a gray. All right, and then I'm going to highlight the top, and again go to color, change it to gray. Now I want to do a print preview to see what this is going to look like. I am going to highlight, I'm going to click on this first tab, and then I'm going to hold down my control key and click on the second one so it prints both. You have to have the tabs highlighted for it to print both. So those are highlighted. I'm going to go up to File, and then this is where I'm going to go to Print. So now you'll see it's going to print 1 of 5 pages. It's going to print my data. I don't have lines on this. I'm the kind of person who wants lines, and look at that. I have 1 column orphaned off. So to fix that, I'm going to go back up to Scaling. Scaling means I want to fit all columns on 1 page. So now it's going to redo it. Now notice now that I have 3 pages. So now we don't have the letter grade hanging off, but it's hard to see because it's right here. But I've got my letter grades, my student data, and then I've got my summary here. And you can change the title of these titles, anything on that page if you want to. One of the things that I don't like about this sheet right now is that there are no lines to make it easy to search. So I'm just going to use my back button and think about what I told you to add borders. Doesn't automatically come with borders. And I highlighted just what I need here, not the entire sheet, because if I do that, I'm going to get all these blank columns too. I'm going to go up. Remember, it was on the Home tab, and it takes a little practice to get used to what's on each tab. I'm going to go up, and I'm first of all going to make a top border. Actually, I think I'm just going to do all borders. All borders. There we go. And now you see I got my borders. And I think I just put some on the data summary page. Yes. So on this page, I'm going to go back and highlight just this page. You see what I did? I think I highlighted all of these columns. All right, let's go back over here. And now here, I'm going to go to borders, and I'm going to take off the borders. No border. I don't want any borders on this page. Borders are here. No borders here. And then remember to print both pages. Click the bottom, and then go File, because that's where all the actions are, and go to Print. And now it remembered that I had some scaling here that I wanted to fit all of my columns on 1 page. There's page 1, and notice now they're separated out so I can see the letters separately. And then notice I have no borders on this page. One more thing that I would like to do is I would like to center up the section column and the letter column. We could center all of them. I really don't like numbers centered when we have uneven numbers. That's just me. But it bothers me that this is so close to this. I could stretch out. So I'm going to go back. I could just stretch this out a little bit and make it look better. Actually, you have to stretch the end, but it doesn't make it really nice. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to highlight the column. And then notice up here at the top, I want it centered. I'm going to highlight this column and I'm going to center. So now notice how we are centered. So again, oh, I think I may have done it on the other table as well, the other page. No, it didn't affect. So remember to print or preview, I need to highlight both of these by holding down the Control key when I click on them. Go to File, Print. Now look at how much nicer that is. So I can scroll through my pages. And voila, it did center up some of the columns that matched on the other page. That's okay. We'll live with that. All right, and so that is the first way you can organize your data. I'm going to leave that data summary. I'm going to go back to my student data tab, highlight that one, then highlight this one. Okay, I'm going to go here. And now I want to show you another cool trick with analyzing data. We're going to do it this time using Copilot instead of the simple Analyze tool that they have, which does a great job, but it's limited information. Once you are ready to analyze your data with Copilot, you'll want to go back to your Okta dashboard, click on Microsoft Office 365, and then open Copilot from there. I don't recommend opening Copilot within Excel because it doesn't calculate as quickly and create your analysis and your graphs and charts as quickly as it does if you just use plain old Copilot, not within Excel itself. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to upload my data sheet. So I'm going to add the content. I'm going to go over, I've got it saved in a folder. I'm going to drag and drop it into Copilot. It's going to upload a copy of my data. Then I'm going to also type in a message and say, please analyze, I'm going to say the attached data, including each course and each section to show trends, include graphics and charts. And now I'm going to hit send. Notice how quickly it's going to analyze my data. It's got the spreadsheet that I uploaded. You'll see right here. And it's working on it. You'll see it's using Python to create the charts and tables. I think that's interesting. Python is a programming language, and it'll even show up some of the Python script for those of you who might be computer nerds like me. It will let you know if there's any issues with the data, and it will go in and correct that. Now it's coding and executing. You'll notice some stops and starts here. This takes a few minutes, up to maybe 5 minutes. So I am going to pause and then come back when all of the information has loaded. All right, now that the code has finished running, it's going to give me some information. It tells me that the reasoning has completed in 25 steps, and it's going to share how they analyzed, or how, not they, Copilot's not a they, but how Copilot analyzed the data, broke it down by course and section to highlight key trends. And so the first thing you'll see is we've got an at-a-glance average performance by course. It shows that biology had the highest overall average, psychology was next, and then math and then English ranked the lowest. And so, and it also created a bar graph here so that you can see how well each one did. It tells us what the standard deviation was, the variance. and that English has the smallest spread. Most of those grades were very, very similar. Then it looked at section level trends, and it gives you a heat map. Notice on each of these, what you can do is if you want to create a report or something for this, you can actually copy, just highlight and then hit your Control C and then paste that information into a document. You can also copy the graph or heat map that it creates and put that into your report as well, or you can download a copy of it. You'll want to kind of review the data and make sure that it looks accurate. And then your charts and graphs, you want to make sure you look at those carefully because sometimes they come out a little wonky. And if you try to copy and paste them, they may not have all the information that you need. So just check on that. You'll see letter grade mixes by course, how many got B's, C's, and D's, distribution by course, what students did best or worst on, by assignment, by course. So you can see how they did. And you've got a nice bar graph here. And then you can actually hover over it and get some more detailed information. Relationships among assessments. This is not one I would copy and paste because this is kind of crammed together and not, easily viewed. Then you've got some more. You've got a scatter plot here. You can also download these summary tables for any slides or handouts you're going to create. You can download what you've got. And if you download them into as a CSV, this is where it's going to spread out. I'm actually going to download it, open it up, and let you see what it looks like when it opens up in Excel. I'm going to convert it. So it's going to bring the information down. So you can see the information in an actual Excel spreadsheet if you'd like. I usually just do the copying and pasting. And then it can do something like turn it into a one-page brief, into a PowerPoint presentation if you want. It's going to ask you some questions about what more you want to do with these. And you can get more information. They give you some suggestions here, or you can actually type in what you want Copilot to do. Responses into a document, have it open it in Word. Let's try that. Let's open this whole kit and caboodle in Word and see what it looks like. So now I'm going to continue in Word. And so it creates a nice document that I can manipulate and delete anything I don't want, add some more information that I might want. Like I said, I don't like this heat map. And it does have the titles at the top and everything. So it comes in very handy. There's some things that you can click on to take a look at as long as you're in your Outlook Online. You'll be able to pull it up and take a look at it. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have learned a lot. And I hope to be able to create an advanced course in the coming semester. Thank you so much.